Welcome, wanderer between worlds. Tonight, you are not asked to believe, only to remember, because there are stories older than waking.
Stories that whisper that life is but a dream, and the dream more real than we dare to imagine. This is the tale of Maya.
When the dream began, before time learned to count, before gods took form, there was a shimmer, not light, not darkness, something in between, a veil, a breath, a gentle lie so beautiful that even truth was to adore it. They called her Maya, not a demon to be feared,
Nor a goddess to be worshipped, but a weaver, spinning worlds from threads of illusion and desire. With one hand, she scattered stars into the night sky. With the other, she closed our eyes and whispered a single spell. Forget, forget eternity, forget oneness, forget that you were ever anything but a wandering drop of water in this vast ocean of dreams. And so,
we sleep while thinking we are awake. We chase shadows, call them purpose. We gather sand, call it treasure, and sometimes, in a breath between heartbeats, we feel it the soft tug of something behind the world, asking us to remember
what we have always known, that life is not the truth, it is the mask the truth decided to wear. Chapter 1. Who is Maya? She is not illusion alone. She is the mother of illusion, the womb from which all appearances are born, the architect of dreams, whose lattice work is so intricate even the gods forget they are sleeping inside it. A painter who does not use pigments, but longing and memory, fear and hope, dipping her brush in the hidden desires of the heart and sweeping them across the empty sky until worlds begin to shimmer into being. In ancient Indian thought, Maya is not wicked, nor is she benevolent. She is necessary. She is the very dance of manifestation, the sacred movement through which the unseen becomes seen, through which the formless takes on just enough shape to be touched and believed. She is the reason a wave feels separate from the sea that births it, the reason a cloud believes it is not the sky. Without her, nothing could appear. No lovers, no stories, no laughter, no grief. Without her, life would be only
silent infinity. But with her, everything seems real, solid, urgent, fleeting, beautiful. She ushers us into existence, wraps us in skin, molds us into names, and teaches us the language of separation. This is you. This is me, she says, tying veils over our knowing eyes, and every time we declare, I am this, I am that, she smiles, not with deception, but with profound compassion, for she knows we are neither, and we are all. Watch closely. She whispers beneath every heartbeat, because what you cling to will surely dissolve, and what you carelessly ignore may be the only thing that truly endures. To see martyr is not to reject life, nor to shatter the dream, but to wake inside it, to walk the world as both witness and participant, to play our roles fully, even as we remember we are also the stage, the script, the actor, and the audience all at once. To truly know martyr is not to escape illusion, but to love it so deeply that illusion itself becomes transparent, and we can finally move through the dream with eyes wide open, walking gently as both the dreamer
and the dreamed. Chapter 2. The Man Who Forgot He Was Dreaming. They say once there was a man who woke inside a dream and did not realize he was dreaming. The world he found himself in was bright with colors and crowded with purpose. He had a name, though he could not remember choosing it. He had a body, though he could not recall stepping into it. There were rules he had never agreed to follow, and yet he obeyed them with the obedience of someone who believed he had no choice. Seasons changed
around him, as if rehearsed. People touched his life like pages turning in a book he had forgotten he was writing. He loved, he lost, he longed, and each time his heart broke it felt final, like stone sinking in water. Every so often, however, something strange would happen. A feather would fall without wind. A stranger would speak a sentence that echoed like prophecy. A moment would stretch too long, and for the briefest instant he would remember. He would remember that none of this was fixed, that everything around him shimmered faintly, as though waiting for him to question it. But then the spell returned. The dream called itself life once more, and he surrendered to its gravity. He worked, he worried, he grew old. It was only at the very end,
when his breath grew thin, when his hands trembled searching for something they could not hold, that he saw her, Maya, not as a woman, not as a goddess, but as a veil pulling gently away from his eyes. She did not scold him for forgetting. She simply touched his forehead with fingers made of starlight and said, "You believed so beautifully." With that, the dream dissolved. The streets vanished. The names vanished. The years of striving and sorrow fell away like petals from a flower whose time had come, and he awoke, not into another place, but into himself, awake, yet knowing that at any moment Marla might weave another world around him again, and if she did, he would step into it once more, perhaps wiser, perhaps not, but hopefully remembering this, that the truest goal is not to escape the dream, but to remain awake within it.
Chapter 3. Threads of Karma and the Wheel That Never Stops Turning. Maya does not work alone. While she weaves the illusion, another force pulls the threads tight. Karma, the unseen weaver of consequence. Every thought, every word, every action becomes a strand, looping back again and again through lifetimes. It is not punishment, nor reward. It is simply echo. The universe listening to itself, responding to itself, balancing what has been ticked. Some call it destiny, others fate. But in truth, karma is much quieter than that. It works in whispers, a familiar face in this life that your soul once wronged in another. A sudden kindness from a stranger repaying a debt neither of you can recall. A deep fear you carry without reason, because somewhere in another dream you created the very wound you now wear. Under Marla's spell, you might believe each life is separate, each fall brand new, but behind the veil, the wheel turns, ceaseless as breath, birth, bloom, decay, death, then another beginning stitched from the last ending's threads. You may forget your story, but the story does not forget you. It carries you forward again, until the lesson is understood not just by the mind, but by the heart, by the soul, until you look at joy and do not cling, look at suffering and do not resist, and understand both to be ripples upon the same endless sea. When that moment of recognition comes, even for a heartbeat, something changes. The wheel still turns. Maya still paints her worlds. But you begin to move differently, choosing with awareness, loving with gentleness, living as if you know every step shapes another life yet to come. That is how awakening begins, not with thunder or revelation, but with a soft conviction. Inside the dream, I must walk with care, because everything I touch is also touching me. Chapter 4. When the gods forgot they were dreaming too. It is a secret rarely spoken in sacred texts, that even gods can fall under Maya's spell. They create worlds, shape destinies, and bend time, yet sometimes forget that they too are characters inside a story being written by something beyond themselves. In ancient Indian lore, the devas battle demons, preside over rituals, and direct cosmic order, but there are moments when even they glance into Maya's shimmering veil, and grow uncertain of what is true. A god awakens thinking himself eternal, only to realize his power exists only as long as someone believes in him. Another boasts of indestructible glory, yet trembles when a strange dream shakes his timeless sleep. Brahma himself, the creator of worlds,
once questioned whether he was the maker or merely another dream inside a greater dreamer's mind. Vishnu, the preserver, floats on the cosmic ocean with his eyes half-lidded, and many whisper that even his divine stories are but dreams. He
spins while sleeping in eternity, and Shiva, the destroyer, who dances worlds into ruin, smiles with a knowing sadness, because he too understands the joke that destruction is not real. For nothing ever truly dies in Maya's dream. It simply changes costume. When even gods can forget themselves, what chance does a mortal have? And yet, that is exactly the wonder of this illusion. Maya does not deceive out of cruelty, but out of play, Lila, the sages call it, the divine play of existence. We are all actors, gods, demons, animals, humans, stepping onto the stage of time to dance a little, laugh a little, suffer a little, and then bow, disappear behind the curtain, only to return again under a new name, new mask, new destiny. Awakening is not refusing the play. It is knowing the script while still performing. With all your heart, sitting in the dream, wide-eyed, breathing softly, and saying, "Ah, I see, and I will still dance." Chapter 5. The Mirror of Rebirth. To die inside the dream is not to end. It is to be recast. One moment you are standing in sunlight, believing this is the only skin you have ever worn.
And the next, you are floating toward another womb,
forgetting everything you once knew. This is how Maya keeps the story ever unfolding. She does not let the curtain fall. She simply changes the scene. Your last breath in one life becomes the first cry in another. Your fears become freckles on a new form. Your hidden desires become the architecture of your next fate. And so we return, again and again, across centuries, across faces, across languages we do not recall learning. Each new body is a chance, a mirror held up to the soul. Some mirrors are kind, some shatter us, but all of them reflect exactly what we need to
see in order to wake a little more. The wise say we are not punished by rebirth. We are educated by it. Maya's wheel does not spin to trap us, but to refine us. Each failure softens arrogance. Each heartbreak cracks open compassion. Each victory teaches impermanence, until slowly,
imperceptibly, something in us begins to shift. We stop chasing what cannot last, and start longing for what cannot fade. We begin to wonder who is doing the learning, who is watching lifetime after lifetime unfold like passing dreams. That blooming wonder is the first fragrance of real awakening. Not escape, but recognition, a seed inside that whispers, "I know I have been here before." For once you begin to glimpse Maya's mirror, you no longer fear death. You fear only falling back asleep. Chapter 6. When Maya speaks in dreams, she rarely appears in daylight. Maya prefers the soft hours when the world grows quiet, when the mind slips its leash and drifts between breaths. That is when she speaks, not in sentences, but in symbols, in dreams where nothing makes sense and yet everything feels true. Perhaps you find yourself walking through a house you've never seen, but somehow know by heart. Perhaps a stranger whispers a simple phrase that pierces deeper than any scripture. Perhaps you awaken with tears you cannot explain. These are not accidents. These are her invitations. Dreams are her secret language. Through them she reminds us that reality is not as rigid as it seems. Walls melt, time loops, the dead return, and our bodies shift into birds, beasts, fire, light. None of it is meant to frighten, only to loosen the grip of certainty, to teach us that if we can change so easily while asleep, how little separates the dream self from the waking one. The sages say, when Maya visits your dreams, she is not showing you fantasy, she is showing you a truer version of reality. One where everything is fluid, interconnected, symbolic,
as it actually is beneath the veil. Every dream is a message disguised as madness. Every strange landscape is a memory from another lifetime. Every face is a reflection of your own unremembered self when you awaken, and the illusion of ordinary life snaps back into place. You might be tempted to dismiss it all, but the wise do not. They carry their dreams like lanterns through the waking world. They listen for Maya's voice in the rustle of leaves, in the flicker of streetlights, in deja vu that tastes like
prophecy, because they know she does not speak to confuse us. She speaks to awaken us. And the more we listen, the thinner the veil becomes, until one day, waking and dreaming become the same. Chapter 7. Cracks in the illusion. There comes a moment, often quiet, often unexpected, when the fabric of life trembles. Nothing dramatic happens. A cup slips from your hand in slow motion. A familiar street looks strangely unfamiliar.
a word you've spoken 1,000 times suddenly feels foreign on your tongue. These are the cracks, small fractures in the dream through which truth shines like a sliver of moonlight. Maya is generous. She does not shatter the illusion
all at once. She simply lets it flicker, giving us chances to notice. Most brush them aside. Strange coincidence.
odd feeling.
Moment of dizziness. But to those who are beginning to awaken, these cracks become sacred. They remind the soul that what it believed to be solid is actually woven from breath, that what it clings to may fade faster than smoke. In such moments, you might feel a sudden, unbearable tenderness for strangers you've never met, for places you've never been, for a world that might vanish if you blink too long. That tenderness is not weakness. It is the natural response of one who sees the dream for what it is. Beautiful, temporary, precious, beyond measure. Awakening does not mean stopping the dream. It means loving it so fiercely that you finally stop pretending it will last forever. You begin to walk differently.
Lighter, gentler, as if every step might leave a ripple in eternity. You speak with more care, knowing words shape worlds. You grieve more honestly, laugh more freely, laugh with wonder, and cry without shame, because through the cracks you
have seen a glimpse of what lies beneath, and once you have seen even a fragment of the truth beyond illusion, you can never fully go back to sleep.
Chapter 8. The Whisper of Awakening. Awakening does not arrive like a trumpet or a lightning strike. It comes like a whisper, soft, persistent, impossible to ignore. It begins as a question that echoes quietly inside the heart. Could
there be more than this? Not more wealth, not more pleasure, not more certainty, but more reality, more truth. The whisper is gentle, but it is relentless. It follows you through crowded days and lonely nights. It does not shout, because shouting would break the spell too quickly. Instead, it waits at the edges of your comfort. It sits beside your disappointments. It speaks louder when you are brave enough to be still. Awakening is not a destination. It is a remembering, the slow return of a knowing you were born with and buried beneath years of striving, fearing, proving, forgetting. At first, it feels impossible. How can something so quiet undo something so vast? But Marla herself steps back when the whisper grows strong enough, for her task is not to trap you forever. It is to hold you gently until you are ready to see through her. And when you are, she does not fight. She becomes translucent. The dream remains, but something inside you rises above it. You watch your life unfold, joys and sorrows, triumphs and losses, with a strange clarity, as if you are both inside the story and outside it at once. That is the beginning of freedom, not escape from the world, but the ability to live in it without being deceived by it, to move through Maya's dance with open eyes, knowing it is a dance, to feel everything deeply without becoming lost in anything, to listen to the whisper even when the world is loud,
And every time you choose stillness over distraction, truth over comfort, compassion over control, the whisper grows, stronger, until one day it is no longer a whisper at all, it is you. Chapter 9. The dreamer wakes inside the dream. There is a moment on the path when the seeker stops running toward enlightenment and instead turns inward, not to escape the dream, but to awaken within it. This is the real magic of Maya, that
you need not leave the world to transcend it. You need only remember that you are not merely the character,
but also the dreamer. When this recognition dawns, the shift is subtle yet immense. The mind still speaks, but you are no longer tangled in its stories. Emotions still rise, but you watch them like clouds passing through a vast sky. You feel
joy, but do not cling to it. You feel sorrow, but do not drown in it. You remember yourself as something larger, a presence that cannot be named, yet knows everything unfolding is part of its own mysterious play. Daily life continues. The body works, the heart beats, the world pulls and pushes, but a secret smile forms within you, not out of arrogance, but out of understanding. You know you cannot control the dream, but you can dance with it, gracefully, consciously, lovingly, the awakened.
One still eats, sleeps, laughs, and cries, but behind every act is an awareness. I am dreaming, and so a strange freedom arrives. You can meet others not as roles, but as reflections. You can offer kindness without needing anything in return. You can face death without panic,
knowing it is just another doorway Maya paints as an ending. You are no longer a prisoner of the illusion, nor its enemy, but its partner. The dream becomes luminous, sacred, alive with gentle mystery, and whether it lasts another minute
or 1,000 lifetimes no longer matters, because you, the dreamer, are awake.
Chapter 10. The Smile of Maya. When awakening blooms fully, something unexpected happens. Not thunder, not transcendence, but a smile, not on your face, but on hers. Maya, the weaver of illusion, the keeper of the cosmic dream, does not vanish when you wake. She simply smiles, tender and timeless, like a mother watching her child open its eyes for the first time. She was never your enemy. She was your teacher. You begin to understand that every heartbreak was her lesson in softness. Every longing was her invitation to look deeper. Every moment you thought you were losing yourself, she was gently removing what you were never truly meant to keep. She did not deceive you out of cruelty, but out of compassion, because without the dream, you would never have discovered the dreamer. Without forgetting, you could never have tasted the sweetness of remembering. And so you bow, not in defeat, but in gratitude. Gratitude for the illusion that shaped you, tested you, broke you, refined you, and finally revealed you to yourself. In that bow, all separation dissolves, Maya, and you are no longer apart. You are both the dance and the dancer, the story and the storyteller, the veil and the one who sees through it. And as you move forward,
living, loving, breathing inside the dream, you carry that secret smile in your heart. You speak gently, because every soul you meet is still dreaming. You serve quietly, because awakening is not to stand above, but to walk beside, and you
never again curse the illusion, because now you know, the dream was never less than reality. It was simply reality in disguise,